Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson on coding and organizing data in qualitative research. So in this lesson, we will focus on how researchers move from raw data or unstructured information like interview, focus group, or observation and change it into meaningful categories and themes that answer the research question. Coding is the foundation of qualitative data analysis, and by the end of the session, you will understand how to conduct coding systematically, how to organize your data using common qualitative methods, and how to ensure your analysis is both rigorous and trustworthy. Qualitative coding is essential in the process of labeling chunk of text so you can make sense of what your participants are saying. When you conduct interview or you collect an open-ended response from your participants, you often end up with pages of unstructured data. So coding helps to break this data into smaller, manageable units. So each code acts like a tag that represent an idea, or it represents a behavior or a pattern seen in the data. So over time, these codes help you to identify broader themes that explain the meaning behind the participants' experiences. Coding is important for several reasons. First, it helps to reduce overwhelming amounts of data into manageable pieces. Second, it helps you to organize pattern that might not be obvious at first glance. Third, consistent coding allows you to build credible findings, in which other researchers can follow your steps and understand your reasoning. And finally, coding increases the overall trustworthiness of your study because it provides a transparent trail from raw data to the final themes. There are three primary types of coding in qualitative research. First, we call it open coding. This is the starting point. Here you will actually break your data into smaller units and give each one a label. This is an exploratory approach. You are basically open to anything that emerges. Next is axial coding, which involves connecting similar codes together. You begin to cluster related ideas and look for relationship among them. And finally, selective coding involves forming overarching themes. So these themes will form the backbone of your finding chapters and will address the research question directly from your study. There are two main ways to approach coding. First is the inductive coding, means you allow patterns and themes to emerge naturally from the data. So nothing is predetermined. Second is deductive coding, which it uses predetermined categories based on theory or based on literature or the research framework. In some studies, researchers use a hybrid approach of these two types of coding, where they begin with a set of expected codes, but remain open to new codes that emerge unexpectedly from the data. Before coding begins, you must properly prepare your data. This includes transcribing your interviews word to word. Once transcribed, you should clean the transcript, remove unnecessary fillers like or repeated words unless they are meaningful. After that, organize your transcript in clearly labeled folder according to the participant's ID. Finally, ensure that your data is safely backed up. Losing your qualitative data can be heartbreaking because it is usually collected through time-consuming and personal interaction. The coding process usually follows several clear steps. First, you need to read your transcript thoroughly to understand the participant's story. Second, you need to conduct open coding by labeling words, phrases, or sentences that stand out as meaningful. Third, group similar codes together, in order for you to see if there is any idea being repeated. Fourth, start forming categories by clustering similar codes and defining what those clusters represent. And finally, begin to identify the themes. So these themes represent the bigger ideas that helps answer your research question. Researcher can code manually using highlighters and printed transcript, which is common for smaller projects. However, qualitative software tools such as NVivo or Atlas TI can help to streamline the process by making it easier to tag, make it easier for you to organize, to sort, and to retrieve coded data. Some researchers also use spreadsheets like Excel or Google Sheet to create simple coding metrics. So the choice depends on the size of your project, your familiarity with the tools, and the level of detail and of your analysis that is required for your study. Organizing qualitative data requires more than just labeling text. You should create a code book that defines each code and provide examples so that your coding is consistent. You can also build coding metrics where participants' responses are aligned with specific codes. So this helps you to compare patterns across the participants. As themes begin to form, organize your categories in a structured way to ensure they are logically related to the research question. Most importantly, maintain traceability. Your final themes should link back to specific participants' codes, which to ensure transparency of the data. Trustworthy is in qualitative research ensures your findings are credible and reliable. Triangulation compares different data sources or methods to validate finding. Member checking involves asking participants to verify whether your interpretation reflects their experiences. An audit trail documents every step that you took during coding and analysis. And finally, peer review allows other researchers to check your codes and your interpretation. So these strategies increases confidence in your results and strengthen the quality of your study. To illustrate coding in practice, consider a short interview situation. You would highlight key statements, assign open quotes, such as lack of time, stress, or support from colleagues. Once several quotes appear, you can group them into categories like work pressure or coping mechanism. Finally, you identify a broader themes such as challenge of work-life balance. So this step-by-step example should show you how raw narrative is transformed into an analytical insights. In summary, coding and organizing data is the backbone of qualitative research. It allows you to transform raw narrative into structured insight that directly address your research question. By following a systematic process from open coding to theme development, you ensure that analytical process is rigorous and clear. With tools, consistent coding, and proper documentation, your final findings will be both credible and meaningful. Thank you for now. I'll be seeing you next in other videos.